Alec, welcome.
It is. I feel very welcome. I
Yeah.
do. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome
Here I
to a
am.
brand new series known as Black Mirror.
I know. It's kind of wild. We're doing. What is this? What's going on?
Black
This slot's
Mirror.
normally filled with Survivor.
Yeah. So we decided after we finished most recent season of Survivor that we would take a little break between seasons. We might do this like between seasons from now on because Black Mirror, the seasons are generally pretty short. So figure to do one season and then go back to Survivor because it's just not for our schedules and whatnot, it's just not plausible to do two series at the same time like that. So
Yeah. Be very,
so
very
just
difficult for us to do. For
sub it
sure.
in. It'll only be 3 episodes for the first season. It's an anthology sci-fi series, and Black Mirror is a show that I really enjoy, and I've always thought would be perfect for the Tarqaron format.
Yeah.
Even if we didn't do reactions, it would be cool to discuss. A lot of the episodes provoke a lot of discussion, about there's a lot of different moral dilemmas involved and stuff like that. And I mean, there's going to be hits and misses because it is an anthology series. There are some episodes that are definitely better than others. But I think generally as a series, it tends to get better as the seasons go on for the most part. And there's just a dud every now and then, and some people aren't a huge fan of. Some won't have as much discussion, but since we are doing reactions, you'll be able to go in the link in the description to see the highlights of a reaction and then come back afterwards for the discussion. And it should be fun. So do you know anything about Black Mirror other than that? Or have you
I
seen
feel
any of
like
it?
I think I've just got general reactions. I feel like I've heard like some details of some episodes of them, just generally speaking, but I don't know if I remember any specifics. So all I know is that like the Miley Cyrus episode kind of sucks. That's all I know, pretty much. And
True.
but that's like the dud of that season. But everything else, I just don't really know. Yeah, not a whole lot about it.
So it'll be like a fun adventure each week because it'll be very wildly different. It's
Yeah.
not like Survivor where it's a continuation that we're following for some time. It's just very different. Every episode you get different situations. Some really aren't sci-fi at all, but generally there's some sci-fi element at least. So it might not feel like a super futuristic world, but there'll be some little element that's like, okay, that's what sets this apart. And whatnot, but sci-fi futuristic stuff. But yeah, so it should be fun. Nothing to preface it with because we'll just see what it's like when we go into it.
Yeah.
All right, this episode is called The National Anthem. All right, so click the link in the description. Come back for the discussion afterwards. There it is.
Wow.
That's episode 1 of Black Mirror.
Wow. Wow. That was a lot. That was a lot of that was something.
Okay, well, what do you think of all that transpired today?
That was very like, yeah, that felt very like modern, like almost Twilight Zone-ish, but maybe not quite as like supernatural.
Yeah, this
It's
is
like it's like a written scenario that's like somewhat fantastical.
this is like the most un-sci-fi of like all the episodes I can think of. Like, was
Okay.
there a sci-fi or like futuristic element even in this one?
Other than like we're gonna map your head somehow onto this actor.
Yeah, but that seemed
That's
ridiculous even in that.
Yeah,
Even in
it
that
did.
world.
Even in that world, yeah. But I mean, just like the fact that to me, the almost quote unquote fantastical element is the fact that people would have actually been like, yeah, we're just gonna skip work and like go better. Not even there's no one's on the streets,
Not
no
a
one's at
single
work,
person.
no one's doing anything. Everyone wants to watch that, and it's like, I get what it's saying in terms of the story, but like,
You can't get everybody
But,
to
like-
stay home like the first week of COVID.
yeah, yeah, there's no way
everybody's
that,
gonna stay home just to watch Prime Minister have sex with a pig.
yeah, that's
The dude's like, it's history. She's like, it's been on for over an hour already.
over an hour, and it's like, oh well, it's history.
just been
it's like, yeah, that's why we watched.
Like,
that's why you're watching it, and then everyone sat there and watched it for an hour, over an hour.
Uh-huh.
I like how people look like they were uncomfortable after the first like 30 seconds. How could you sit there and watch it for that long?
I don't know how you justify it. No.
Yeah. It was interesting that they like it was like a feeling bad sort of like ending, and then they sort of like went up again. They're like, oh, like he's doing okay. You know, his popularity went up, and then now he's got trouble with his wife. So it is a sad ending because like it was his wife he loved, but it's like why
is that an acceptable response to that situation from his wife to be distant to him? She didn't discourage him, right? She didn't.
Yeah.
She didn't say don't do it. Please don't do this.
Right. Yeah. She didn't say like don't do this ever, and instead now she's like, I can't believe you did that horrible thing to that pig. And I was like, or I can't believe you did such a thing, a horrible thing. Because the humiliation was on her too, even though it seemed like.
But in the public eye,
it seemed like in the public eye she's But it seemed like
behind the scenes it damaged their relationship.
Well, I think it's a.
I'm sure.
I feel like it would be a reasonable. I feel like it would be a reasonable response because
I'm sure it could do some damage, but it's also you think if you're with the right person and you have to go through this traumatic experience, they wouldn't leave you hanging after the traumatic experience.
Yeah, but. Like that, where she's like, it's not like we need to work on this together. It's like, oh, I'm moving away from you now. I can't even look at you now.
But it's like that's. But I've thought about that because there are like couples where like they'll lose a child or something, you know, and then that'll like grow them or like they'll grow apart and divorce.
Drift apart, yeah.
And so I've always found that to be hard to believe, but
it happens.
It feels like you want to come together during the bad times, you know, be there for each other. But the reality is that sometimes it just does. It's like you can't get over it.
That's horrible. I mean, it's just horrible. It's just a horrible scenario.
But now, from the Prime Minister's perspective, there's no way I'm ever doing this, right? It's never.
No, never in like a billion years.
Because of the exact thing that happened. The fact that he released her 30 minutes before it happened, he just as easily could have killed her anyway.
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing stopping her from like having him do the humiliating thing and then kill her.
He could
have done anything.
It's an interesting commentary on like the advising people that he has around him, and the idea of public pressure and like polls. That's the most important thing. And it's like it's like all this public pressure. It's the public pressure that seems to be the most important thing. And so he'd put that. I think that's the kind of statement at the end, is that he'd put that ahead of his marriage, ahead of like his wife's concerns over doing such a thing.
Yeah, because it wasn't about her life, you know.
Yeah.
It was always about where the polls go, what's the perception gonna be.
And it's like they're encouraging him to do so is just like absolutely repulsive, and it's like, no, you should do this, you need to do it. It's like they basically pressure him into doing it.
Not only am I not doing this, you're all fired. That's what it should be.
And it's like at this point, who cares what the public says,
right? There's no way you give into that. Like, there's so much more downside than upside. You have no control. Like, these kinds of demands, you have no control over what the person even chooses to do afterwards. You know, it's not like you're actually getting a reward. They're asking you to do something vile and embarrassing, and while they still have full control over what they're going to do with the princess, he just easily could have killed her anyway.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The thing you think about,
worst case scenario. Too.
So the threat, right? Remember, the threat is, if you don't do this, she dies. So okay, she's faced with a traumatic experience. She was kidnapped, possibly got her finger cut off, and she's gonna die. Her suffering was brief. The suffering that someone who had to do such a reprehensible and vile act is lifelong. Like that's something that you're literally never going to get over. Like that's going to damage you. It's going to scar you for life. Damage you.
Yeah.
That trauma is never going away.
And I do think that is
So it's like,
I think like it's a nice idea for a story, but in that way, I do think it's unrealistic that even Prime Minister, I don't think would value his job enough to do that. Like there's so many political figures that'll step down for just like the smallest thing.
Yeah.
They'll just step down, so they don't even have to face backlash for like minor scandals.
Yeah.
And like this, it's like, yeah, okay, not worth it. Like,
yeah.
Might as well step down. Like, if you don't do this and the princess dies, okay, I'll step down. Whatever. I'll take that over actually going through with this. You know, and not even knowing if that will save her. It's like it's one thing if you knew like 100% certainty she would be saved if I do this, but even then,
right? Then it's a risk, and it's like, to me, it's like the I think what they said is the onus of her blood shouldn't be on him for not doing it. It's like the blood's on the person who killed her. Like that's how that works. That's how that works. That shouldn't be it. And yeah, screw all what the public would think. It's like at that point it would be horrible. That would be traumatic in and of itself to have the entire world hate you. But to one degree, I'd be like, no, I can hold my head high because I knew that I did the right thing, and I didn't do that.
And realistically, I don't think the whole world would hate you for that. I mean, there's gotta be some intelligent people out there that can just see, okay, well,
yeah, that was where the pole swinging so drastically. It was just
they kind of exaggerated how social media is like, oh wow, just on a dime they can switch, It's like, but you're not going to go from 28% to 70 or 86% just because she got her finger cut off. Like, the threat was there. The threat was there and established.
And apparently the news organization just didn't care to hand it over to get it, like, DNA samples or anything.
DNA came back the day after he'd already gone through it, everything.
Yeah.
It did feel like they kind of shoehorned in this whole side story of Malika.
Yeah, that was so bizarre.
Kind of had no bearing on anything that really happened.
Yeah, she just went in and then she got shot. I thought it was going to be she's going to get killed.
Yeah,
and then it would be a whole other scandal. So in order to save face or whatever, he's got to do it. He has to do it now. That I thought it was going to be pressure like that.
But that whole story thread was like pretty much unnecessary. I don't even know why. Is this showing the journalism aspect of like?
I guess. Well, how? Yeah, there was some commentary there on how how the media. A lot of it is there's a part of it. It's I think a drastic amount of it is the media's play and responsibility in terms of like how this information is swung and is sort of felt by the populace, because people can tend to be more perceptive than the media often gives them credit for, because it seemed like everybody's was able to just see through the ruse that they were trying to kind of cover it up and not talk about it, but then it's like, oh well, we have to still talk about it, and it's like, well, okay. Mm-hmm. But we can't mention the specific thing, and it's like, but everybody knows. This is why shy away from it. Interesting. It's quite a shocking first episode, It's like, hey, here's your new anthology series. A lot of
people, they'll watch this episode and they're like, okay, yeah, this is not for me. Or, but even a lot of Black Mirror fans don't like this episode. It's very different. Like once you see the other ones, it's pretty different than a lot of Black Mirror episodes, Like I said, there's not usually most episodes there's some sort of futuristic technology aspect that you can look out for that'll play some part in the plot, but
do people not like it because it just is too ridiculous, almost too ridiculous of a scenario, or?
Yeah, well, I think it's too grotesque for people. The whole idea, and also, in terms of overall story, is not one of my favorites either.
The story, it does kind of meander. I think it's an interesting commentary on politics and the media and stuff.
I think it's kind of like surface level, though. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of this, like I said, would happen. Like, I don't think he would
No,
ever go through with it.
it's using an extreme to kind of criticize a current reality, and to me, that's that can work. But I think I agree. This maybe a little bit too grotesque of a scenario, or too extreme of a scenario. You know,
because if you have a threat like this, if you got the prime minister to have sex with a pig, they could have threatened anything. Like, you could have told him to do anything, because apparently everything, like, all laws are out the window then, because like they're just airing this
live on
TV, and it's like
to like children, and
like, this is just allowed now. So they could have demanded anything, and it's like they would have considered it. Like,
that's the thing. Oh yeah, sure, we'll broadcast that live on TV for billions of people.
It's like we want the entire governance to have sex with each other on TV, and we're gonna have pigs in there.
Have you ever heard the joke, the aristocrats?
No.
We're gonna simulate that. Okay, well, people in the know, I guess it's a behind baseball. So it's a joke that it's a horrible joke, but it's a joke that comedians would tell each other. Basically, the point of it is the point of the joke is like, it always opens the same way and ends the same way, and it's all up to the performer, the comedian, to improvise and keep details straight, and make sure that it's entertaining and funny, and then they always end it with the punchline. The punchline is always the same. But the point of the joke is to just try to get other people to laugh in your performance, because it almost doesn't matter what you say. But yeah, you could. So in that joke, at least the version I've heard, which was done by a guy who voices Iago,
Gilbert Gottfried.
I've heard a version he did, and yeah, I mean, it's vile, it's horrible. It's like, yeah, you could probably do that. You could probably go and do that and have that happen on live TV. Then great.
Yeah, that just opens the door. You could do anything.
Yeah, so his version is basically like, involves like a family just like having sex with each other, the dogs having sex with them.
I think I do remember hearing about this. I don't know if it was you told me before, but
yeah,
I do remember that now.
And then it's very gross details, but of course it's Gilbert Gottfried, so he's just making it entertaining, even though it's like, it's very like he very gross out, but it's like, which I'm not a super fan of. But
okay, so how about Rod Senseless? They really brought in this porn star, and didn't tell him what he was coming in for, and he was just, he was ready to go. He was just down for it. He's like, well, I'm a porn star. I guess I'm gonna have sex with someone.
Yeah, it's like
this is. Does he know this is the government that's bringing him in here? Like, what do you think is happening?
Are they gonna blindfold him so he doesn't know, or whatever, or something?
But they walked him in, like they were all the way outside the building, and he was out in the open. So much there's a person standing there with a phone.
Also, he would have straight up been able to tell when he had to, like, hear the slopping of the pig.
Yeah, well, they were just so convinced he was gonna do it, though. Were you gonna force him to do it? I mean, I get that porn stars do dirty stuff, but they're not animals. They're not animals.
They don't. Yeah.
I mean, that's almost like an insult to porn stars they threw in there. It's like, okay, we'll just drag this guy in. He's the new porn star. He'll fuck anything. This guy. We don't even need to tell him that it's gonna be a pig. He'll be okay with it. He'll get over it.
He'll be down for whatever. Could be.
This guy's down for. We didn't even tell him what he's coming in for. He was down. He was game.
Just like it is a little ridiculous. Yeah.
And the fact that she really thought you could map a face onto someone else's body like that live, and that would ever work.
That's not how it works, lady.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah, she was terrible. That advisor was horrible, and she was the one that was like the most into him doing it. Like, yeah, you need to do this now. We couldn't find any other way, so you got to be the one to do it.
Is she really looking out for his best interest though? Because she told him not to disclose at the end the report that they let her go 30 minutes before it happened.
But that's almost to save face.
Just covering her ass, yeah.
That seemed like it was just saving face for herself more than anything else. Because I mean, look what she made the what she wanted the prime minister to do, and was like, yeah, you should do it. Like no human being would ever
There's
be
no
like, yeah,
shot.
go for it.
If let's say just you're in this position and like not even take the prime minister out of the equation.
Yeah.
And you like, it's just for some reason they need you to do this. They need you to have sex with a pig to save the princess. What's your response?
No.
No, I'm
just
good.
Straight up like, no, I'm all set.
I'm good where I'm at.
Thanks. I value my yeah, it's like, no, I value my own decency and my own pride and my lack of.
Is there a hypothetical there, like how many people would it take? How many lives would you have to save for you to be willing to do this? It's like, how many is it worth it? You know,
I don't know if
we're gonna kill 10 people.
I don't know if it's possible. I don't know if it's possible to quantify it.
And there's no gray area. It's not like, oh, they could kill him anyway. Let's say that for certainty, like, you do this, they survive. You don't do this, they die. It's like 10 people.
I mean, whatever it is, there's no way I'm letting myself live after it happens. So, like, I'm not fucking living with that the rest of my life. I'm sorry.
A certain part of
take a freaking bullet to the head after that. There's no way. Yeah, how the prime minister was still like, oh, I'm happy now. And it's like, okay. I mean, it was a year, I guess, but he's trying real hard. Yeah.
He's happy.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being able to go through with it, no matter how many lives are at stake. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I don't know if I could either.
Like,
realistically,
1 million lives are at stake.
I mean, he was throwing up after.
You will get hate for that.
Yeah.
For not doing it for that many people.
He was throwing up after, man. I like. There's no way I could even. There's nothing about that.
The dude
would make me not.
It was going for more than an hour.
Yeah, that's fucked. that's just. It's not okay. None of that's okay.
To be finished to completion or whatever they said.
I guess that's why he had to take a enhancement, whatever, so you can make sure.
Don't do it too rushed, so that it might seem like you're eager or enjoying it. I have a feeling he wasn't dragging this thing out for over an hour. It's just there's a point where you just can't. It's not just like,
yeah.
Oh, it's not that easy.
Nah,
not that easy.
That's.
Yeah, so that's why a lot of people are turned off from the show just from this first episode.
Pretty reasonable, honestly. Yeah.
But honestly, I think the second episode is where it's like, all right, this is what this show's like, and this is what we're in for.
Yeah, it's interesting. Maybe they should have. Do you think they should have kept this one for the second episode rather than the first?
Probably,
rather than having it first and front and center?
Yeah, but I guess they wanted to make a strong statement. Maybe it's like
to be like, this show is edgy.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do remember. The day, you have some more. There's some more thought-provoking stuff in future episodes. This one's like, oh, would you have sex with a pig to save a girl?
It's like, no,
not so much, but
nah. I think most people with that are healthy and sane would say no.
But what if it was?
No, but she was the princess. Okay, she was eco queen.
But what if it was your best friend? Oh.
Sorry, man. I'd take a bullet for you, but I don't think I would fuck a pig for you.
What if
that's what I would say.
What if it was your mom?
I deal with that trauma later. Not the pig though. I just deal with you killed my mom.
Oh wow, okay.
Sorry, Mom, Jeez. But I think that I feel like anyone in this scenario would understand. including siblings and family members.
The princess is out living her best life now. She's pregnant and married, and
she's got a finger. Hopefully, the prime minister needs to be.
Fingers.
The prime minister needs to be kept away from the fact that she has her fingers. Except, there's no way he's able to.
Right.
To keep that secret, like how, like he must know that.
So yeah, well, they can just say that was a lie. but they still
Yeah.
could say that he saved her. Couldn't be me. Yeah.
All right.
Boggles the
Well,
mind.
it does. Well, there you go. That's Black Mirror episode 1.
But yeah, I think the first 3 seasons
Mhm.
are, or the first 2 are like British, specifically British programming.
Interesting.
And I think the more recent couple seasons are not, because that's when it came to Netflix. Season 4 and season 5 at least. I don't remember season 3 so much, which one it was.
So did this air on the BBC then? Or maybe not
I think
BBC,
it
but
mi-
like
I
did this
think it
air
might
on like Sky or whatever? Wow.
It might have.
That's quite a shocking program to put on there, you know.
But yeah, there are a lot of like known British actors that you see pop up, even in later seasons.
Yeah, I recognize like a lot of them are like character actors and stuff on British TV. So
and I know
it's
a lot
like
of
for
them
sure.
from Game of Thrones that I see pop up a lot.
Yeah.
Charlie Brooker is the writer for every episode of Black Mirror, so it's pretty cool. That was a surprise.
Every episode.
Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of amazing. That's actually very impressive.
Yes, I looked that up the other day.
Mm.
And because I thought for sure like the most the Miley Cyrus one was someone different because it felt like a different show, but
it's kind of like he's just spitballing ideas and and then bringing them to script, I guess. So,
but I mean, 90% of them are brilliant, really cool. Be fun to get into.
Yeah, not every Stephen King novel was great, you know.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, this is his vision. It's like thought-provoking, futuristic, sci-fi, often dark themes in there.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, definitely starting off pretty dark. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of, I think we sort of laughed just that the whole scenario was a little ridiculous through a lot of it, but yeah.
The Prime Minister was understandably frustrated about the situation.
Oh yeah, I thought the acting was actually very good.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that his advisors were all a bunch of dinks, but his acting was very good. The Prime Minister. So.
Well, the public was on your side, sir. A couple of hours ago, but
but wow, things change really fast. Things are changing real fast.
It's crazy how social media works. Social media. Yeah, they really did it like this is almost like this would be futuristic if you did it like this was 10 years ago. If they did it like 10 years before then, I think, whoa, something like
it's
social
gonna be
media?
It's gonna be like because these all have the old logos for like Twitter and YouTube and stuff. So even like the old player on YouTube is like the 2010 player.
Yeah,
that era. So
all right. Well, what video would you recommend our viewers go watch after this?
Go watch our take on the Suicide Squad, which is also dark, but a lot more cheerful.
Not dark at all.
It was maybe not dark, but it was very violent. So there's that.
Colorful
it's
in some ways.
R-rated fare. It was colorful in some ways.
So stay tuned for next week. We'll have episode 2 of Black Mirror, which is always just a whole new adventure waiting to happen.
And be good. Well, you can only go uphill from here. That was quite the introductory episode.
Yeah, I think this is a lot of people, one of their least favorite episodes. It's definitely one of my least favorite. It's not the worst, but it's down there.
Yeah.
It's still got, there's still something there.
Still, well, I mean, we talked about it for a good 20 minutes after, so.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to our podcast feed. Like the video. Leave a comment. Hit the notification bell. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And like us on Facebook. Tarqaron TWO. All right.